All right, next up, we have Jessica.
Yes, Jessica Young. She is a ninth generation Ventrue. She was actually embraced at the age of 24 in the late 1980s. So she really was raised in a wealthy family and was all a part of that affluent movement and power suits and the rise of corporations. It's always
New York,
figured.
right? Or is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, she
Yeah.
is New York. And so she really was raised in that kind of environment and always had an eye for fashion and for art history. So she actually, she went to Stanford University. She went into art history in the fields, and then when she became a vampire, she was very happy about that, actually. It was almost as if she was also being preserved like art. And she did not let it deter her ambitions at all. In fact, she feels it's helped her, and she moved to Washington, D.C. to pursue her dream job of working at the Smithsonian Institute.
Which you got into
Which
very
you
fast.
Yes, she did.
Because the Smithsonian happened to be controlled by and large by the Camarilla in my setting.
Yes. The caveat to that is that she ended up having to be with a coterie, which was not something she expected to be walking into.
Surprise!
Especially this particular group of vampires,
Misfits.
which she has grown to love. Mostly.
And I would say, is there a good style that you play? But interestingly enough, you have all kinds of disciplines, and it really kind of stemmed, I think,
Yes.
from that one diablerie when you got the
Yes.
boon from the prince.
When the prince allowed her to do a diablerie, and she ended up unexpectedly with Serpentis.
Yeah.
She embraced that discipline.
And so I have a system where I can roll. I have a randomly generated chart for almost everything for this exact purpose. Now the boon is guaranteed to be a generation lower than what she was. So in this case, ninth. But then I can roll to see, what disciplines. And generally they'll just have the clan disciplines, but there is a percentage chance I have that they might have an additional discipline. And points in it so that she could learn that. In this case, I rolled entirely randomly. I could show the tables, but it got Serpentis, which was very odd. And I'm thinking about it, and it's played into the story just fine. It's kind of become a focal point at a time, and we'll go into that when we do the full recap here in a little bit.
Yes.
And then humanity, too, is kind of, you're sort of, a little bit more on the humanity side,
Yeah.
but interestingly enough, I think, the way I see it,
It's less about
go ahead.
it's less about human, like the humans. She's more very compassionate about animals and
Other vampires.
causes and other vampires.
like the
Absolutely.
14th gen, because the
Yes.
Surge is a thing in DC.
Yes.
That's a
Her-
very powerful
Yeah.
position that hunts them down and destroys them utterly, and is
Yeah.
allowed to use basically any and all means to destroy them and the people that create them.
Right. She's very much, her humanity is geared far more towards that than
Yeah.
human
And humans, like
actual humans.
So it's interesting.
Which
Yeah.
that is actually part of her core personality when she was a human. Anyway, she didn't really
No.
connect with other people as
Humanity.
well. She's had to learn her empathy
Yeah.
from the ground up.
Yeah.
So,
So happy to have you as
Yep.
well. I mean,
And-
we're yeah.
and I can reveal her goal now too. And John, who was also a DM for a while, the storyteller for a while, knows her eventual end goal. She wants to be a prince, not necessarily DC. She's not trying to usurp the prince here,
Yeah.
but that her end
Well,
goal is to become a prince.
Yeah,
She
not all princes have to be usurped. In
Nope.
fact, most of them, in my setting, aren't. I mean, a lot of the stories are based around that because that's exciting. But by and large, each city has a prince that's
Yeah.
Camarilla controlled. That doesn't always happen with violence.
Right, she's very loyal to the Camarilla, and that's the other why does reach out to so many vampires as well. Not only does she care about their cause and about the Camarilla, but she feels it will help her on her way. Madame Cymbeline, even though she is not Camarilla, even the followers of Set, as difficult as that whole ordeal was,
We'll talk about
she
that.
still thinks they can be useful because they are not Sabbat. As long as they are not Sabbat.
Sure.
That's pretty much her.
Yeah. Thanks for the recap.